I wanted it, wanted the snow, and now that it's here, I'm like, okay.
My shoulders hurt. I'm all blessed. No, we used to do the John Deere Gator. We had a buddy had a Gator. We just go and we just rip corner. Yeah. No, we just.
Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. The Ferrysburg Planning Commission, Thursday, December 5th, 2024. Welcome to all. Roll call, please.
Chairman Jonas,
Present.
Commissioner Tuggle,
Here.
Commissioner Carlson,
Here.
Commissioner Weber,
Here.
Commissioner Holly,
Here.
Commissioner Schoberg,
Present.
Commissioner DeYoung.
Here.
We have a quorum. We can do some business. Thanks everybody for coming out at a night like tonight, and all of you out there too. I'm just telling everybody, I flew back from Florida yesterday morning. It asked me why, but I'm here for a month before I go back down, which I said I'd never do. But anyway, but we're here, and I haven't forgotten how to drive in the snow. Walking is a little more of a challenge, but that always was anyway. But we're all here to take part in the activities for Ferrysburg Planning Commission. So, consideration for approval of the December 5th, 2024 agenda. Any additions or corrections?
Jesus.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, thank you. And consideration for approval of November 7, 2024 meeting minutes as printed. Any changes or additions? I found none myself.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 7th, 2024 meeting minutes as printed.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 7th, 2024 minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we have public comments, and that's anything that's not on the agenda that we have a public hearing for. The public hearing is for the channel. And we'll have, during the public hearing, we'll accept comments of that. Anybody who wants to talk about anything else, just please step to the podium. Please, and address comments to me, and I'll try.
Wade 19136 Maiden Lane. So, Roger, I just heard the news that you're retiring. I want to thank you for your service, and I would think that maybe after all you've done for the city, we can put your picture up on the wall, and maybe we need a work session to do that.
And then again,
and we need
not.
more Spartans up there too.
Gene, you and I talked about that. The only thing we agree on is green.
That's right. That's right. The other thing is, I heard that Craig is at 29 years, so 30 years, we're going to have to plan some type of party, get that a work session too, right? And gold watch in the works for you. We got to get the budget going. Okay. But it is nice. 10 years ago, I think I stood in front of you guys and talked about some things. It's great to see the diversity that's now here. I think when we did it, it was all white males in the twilight of their career, I would say. But it's great to see that we've got some female leadership here, and I know that you probably have families, work, and things like that. So it's great to see you contribute to our community. Thank you.
And some of us have been at twilight of a career for a long time.
Well, yeah, in your
We're
case, well,
gonna
you've
say
been
it,
talking about
okay, yeah,
retirement
right.
for 10 years, so this is shocking.
One step back, Gene. What Gene's referring to is when we talked about rentals, short-term, long-term rentals. And Gene and I had some good conversations back and forth, and you vehemently disagreed with what we were gonna do and what they had to say. And then all of a sudden, at the city council meeting, when that was presented to city council, Mr. McQuaid gets up and said, "I'm all in favor of it now." And I thought, you know, the benefit of having conversations back and forth helped us all. And I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, democracy at its best,
It was.
and that's why I'm here tonight. Quick story, I was at the grocery store and somebody came up to me and said, "You're the short-term rental guy." I was like, that's not the look I was going for. But a lot has changed in the 10 years that we put that ordinance in place. And I think you have heard from many citizens over the summer and the fall that certainly there's an opportunity to probably revisit that, make some tweaks and adjustments. A lot has changed, as I said. There's more technology available now. There's also been some new judgments and lawsuits in Park Township, as you may have heard, Muskegon, Spring Lake Township. So, you know, there is a different view in terms of whether or not those are commercial operations in a residential zone. I'm not sure if we want to go there, but what I do know is the current ordinance is not being enforced. I know that because I live next door to a rental, and that's not throwing shade at Craig. It's just that he can't do his full-time job and then chase out, all of the complaints that are coming about the renters. And the thought last time was, well, if there's a problem, go to the police. And we have done that. You go to the police and then they kick it back to City Hall. So there's a lot of finger pointing and nothing actually being done to fix the problem. So what I'm requesting is that get placed on the agenda for the Planning Commission to take a look at. And preferably not on June 2nd, because I plan on being somewhere warm, not here. So, thank you.
And Gene, that's exactly, we talked about that at a couple of our last meetings too. We had other people bring the same thing up, and we pretty much agreed that second looks are always good, and we're probably in line for that now. So as soon as Mr. Post comes on, you can address him, and he can take the heat. And but I know everybody wants to talk.
I know where he lives.
But I know it's something we do want to revisit. You're right about a lot of things, and looking at the map again, where are these places? And is as much change there? Technology for sure. You can there are a lot of services out there you can rent through and skirt around things. So I know that next year they'll take a look at that for sure. Promise.
Thank you, and thank you again for your service. And just so you know, the Lions are playing tonight, so I cannot stay the entire.
Well, I'm trying to hustle this meeting. But
Oh,
then,
okay, sorry.
But then you stood up and started talking.
Roger. Craig, didn't we just address this at city council and decided that it was going to be tossed to planning commission for
That's
short-term
correct.
rentals?
Yes,
So we're looking at what, January potentially?
January, February, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's on the radar.
Definitely. We know as with any ordinance that's written, there's always time to revisit and look at it. Things change, and therefore, it's easy for us as a body to change between ourselves and city council, because we work back to back to back, and there's a lot of at the time to talk about it, and that's the main thing. So you get it right and try and get it right. So, yeah, definitely that's one more thing to look at. Anybody else, anything that's not on the agenda? Very good. I'll close the public comment to 7:10. Good to see you again, Gene. And now we're going to have a public hearing. This is when we are going to talk about, you consider a request filed by Mr. Todd Camps for a special land use to have accessory dwelling units in Unit 1, Unit 4, Unit 8, parcel numbers 09338-001 and 7003-09338-004, 008, commonly known as 17360 James Court. James E. Court, Unit 4, James 5. So, Mr. Camps, I have a question. Is the James E. referred to James E. Doss?
Yes.
Okay. For those who don't know, Mr. Doss was co-founder of Structural Concepts back in the day. He occupied the building, right, and Wagoner right by the railroad tracks, the pond in front, until they grew so large and fast. They was structured out on Old Grand Haven Road now. Been there for years, and he used to live in our neighborhood.
Yep.
So, and what else should I know about him? Except that, okay, go ahead.
I will give you a little history. So Todd Camps, 17472 West Spring Lake Road. Jamie, Jim's son, is Junior, and then Jamie and Meg are my partners, and their oldest son is James, and their youngest son is Ethan. So I came up with the thought to surprise them and name the road James after Jamie's dad, frankly, right? Jamie, and then now their son, both their sons. So James E. Court was my thought to that. A few people said, is it east? Why do you? It's not east, so it's James E. So little history there. So we should have our road sign, I think, shortly. So I'm excited to have a little picture opportunity, maybe in the spring at this point, with Jamie and the kids and Megan. So
And that is a private road.
yes. Yes, so thank you. So the last we talked, the building was a bit of a dream, and talked about what it could look like and had some renderings, and I'm super excited how things are progressing. I think we went to Craig with the addition of the fencing and the pylons, and that was all completed a couple weeks ago. There is a gate that has to go on yet. So I thought that was hopefully, a very positive look. I've had a ton of compliments on it. Landscaping, we're still hoping, weather permitting, to get to that. So my landscaper actually was down 2 weeks ago to Tennessee and handpicked some trees. So we've got some nice pine that's going to go to the south and kind of tuck in behind the gas and the is that a pump station. So we'll tuck in behind that to screen that a little bit. And then we've got Bradford pears and red maple going on the west side of the fence along the road. There's a lot of utilities running through there. We're somewhat limited, but we've got 3 nice trees going on each side of the drive. And then the gate is scheduled to go in yet. I'll call it fall or early winter. I guess we're past fall, so yet in the next month or so, hopefully that'll be in place. I'm not sure that's gonna be operational, prior to spring. They've got to get power. We've got, underground capacity for that, but that might be the controllers and stuff will go in the spring, so. So the reason, for tonight's, review is we talked about the ability to have the kind of the live work concept. We've got the 3 units, as Roger mentioned, 1, 4, and 8 that are requesting that. None of those, 1, 4, or 8, have plans to use it as a dwelling. But what we found after working through this and talking with Craig and the planner, because we have in those 3 units appliances, so I think it was, a bathroom and a cooking facility. So we've got a couple of them, if you want to, again, we use the word loosely, man caves. So we've got build out, and when we went to pull those permits, it came to our attention that because of those improvements, that those would qualify as living units, even though that wasn't the intent right now. But we had to, follow through now with the plan. So we submitted the plans for those, and that's what we're asking for, this evening for your approval on that. So again, I think as discussed. So
Very good. Thanks to you, Mr. Camps.
you bet.
Mr. Jurosik, our planner, is not here tonight, but he's sent all this information that we have on what's going on there and all the plans. So we have all that in front of us, and I'll get to that maybe a little more detail as questions may come up during the
Okay,
public
thank you.
hearing part. Maybe refer back to you. So
Awesome,
this
thank you.
time, I think we'll just move right to the public hearing and see what kind of comments we have, then we can address those as we go along, perhaps. So at 7:18, I'd like to open up for the public hearing. Same rules apply. Please come to the podium and give us your name, address, and questions addressed to me or comments, and I'll try and get an answer for you if I can, or I'll find one. So, one, like to come up, please.
Yeah, Jim Bramer, 17714, 174th. It was brought up at the original building or the planning commission for this building, about sprinkling that place if it became residential. And at that time, it wasn't anything that was gonna be residential and sprinkle. Are they gonna sprinkle that now?
I think that was a question that came before up to the fire marshal.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, unless they have, in my understanding, something hazardous going on in there, it doesn't have to be sprinkled. So unless they're doing something,
Okay, so now that being said, is there restrictions on what can go in there then?
there are, according to the special land site use program that we looked at, that was put into place, yes, there are restrictions.
Okay, so no paint business or nothing like that in there, no
I'm not-
automotive?
How restricted did we have it?
It's restricted to the allowed uses in the general commercial zone district. Those are what's permitted.
So,
So like
painting
over
would be
here,
one of them.
I would have to look, I don't know.
Yeah,
so like over here, where you go into Spring Lake and those buildings right there on the curve across the tracks, with the painters and so in there, none of that can go in over there?
I would have to look at the list of uses permitted in the general commercial. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, and I guess my other question is Mr. Camps, how are you gonna secure that bank behind that building? Where you guys cut all those roots off on those trees and everything there, and about 6 foot down?
Yeah, if you give him a chance to come to the podium, please.
Oh,
And
okay.
That's right, okay.
And the other thing is, along with this thing now, they're still allowed to haul all kinds of sand and everything back in there and keep filling that up and building that all up even in the back?
Is that a different lot?
No, it's the back end of that building, but they're dumping sand way in the back there by the ditch that drains my land from back in there.
We can address that, okay.
Okay, I guess, that's all I can think of for right now. There was something else too, but I'll come up with it.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Jim, Mr. Bramer. You want to address that right now?
So the bank, that is on our site plan, and the grade that bank has to be finished graded. So the excavator has dumped a bunch of soil on the south side of the building now up against that bank, and that's not completed yet. So they had, of course, to excavate down the land. Had basically a hill going from the west to the east. So in the center, it's higher and it's level basically at the front in the east and west end of the building. So in the center, the excavator's already dumped blacktop soil, soil, not the blacktop, but black soil against there, and then that'll just get graded back now both ways. So that has to happen yet. The soil's there, but it's not finalized. The sand that has been moved to the back is sitting on the area we would expand the next phase, and that is the sand that we brought from the retention ponds. There's wetland areas through there. Those have silt fence around them, and the sand that's piled there is in the middle of that site. It's not affecting any drainage. It's not impeding on the creek. It's not impeding on any of the neighbors' properties. That's in the center of our property.
Yes, the question is everything according to site plan that was submitted, as far as you know?
I haven't been out there in a while, but last I looked it was, yes.
Okay. And the final will have to comply with the original.
Absolutely. That, like I said,
site plan,
that edge of the south edge of the building, I walked it 2 weeks ago with the landscaper and my general contractor. So once that bank is stabilized, it's got to get pulled away. Right now, it's pushed, that topsoil is pushed right up against the building, so that's got to get pushed back, and then we'll do gravel there for drainage yet, so that's not finished.
Ways to go.
Yep.
Okay. One thing I can assure you, Mr. Bramer, that the site plan that was submitted and approved will have to meet compliance in every way, and we'll be on top of that, so.
One other thing, one is, hey, right now, if he touches it.
No, it's because we're being recorded.
Oh, okay.
So for the people at home.
All right. The other thing is they were over on the property and they cut trees down on my property. And I don't know who they were. I'm sure he knows nothing about it. And the other thing is there a sign ordinance in this town? How can that sign be right out there on the curb by the road?
What sign is that?
There's a permanent looking sign out there advertising for sale. I'm sure you haven't seen it. You only pick up, signs for garage sales and whatnot.
I'll drive by and look at it.
Okay, yeah, that surprised me to see that out there this long.
Is that a temporary sign? Yes. It's temporary.
Come up to the microphone, please.
Tara DeVerney, 17826, 174th. I just wondered how long is considered temporary? It's been out there for over a month.
It's a site still under construction.
The sign is right there. If I was having a garage sale for a month, could I keep a sign out next to the road on the city property saying I'm
This-
having a garage sale for a month?
Well, this is commercial property.
Okay, that's my next question. If it is commercial property, which it was originally residential, then it was moved to commercial, how can you allow dwellings on a commercial property?
We, about a couple months ago, when this was approved, the request was made for the potential of having a special site plan approval and land use approval to have dwellings in other kinds of buildings. This being one, that's a case-by-case basis. And that was passed by city council. Now we're back looking at it on this case basis and submitted for this particular application. So it was something that we thought about or was passed by ordinance.
Okay, I was also told that there would be low light pollution, and my yard is lit up like crazy. So what's gonna happen if people live in these?
I don't think the
Permanently.
final lights are in yet.
There are lights in. The whole building is lit up almost every night. And the lights outside light up my backyard. So, question again,
We'll look
what's
at-
gonna happen when people are there all the time?
We'll look at the lighting, that has to also comply with the original site plan. So we'll have to look at that.
Okay, and
Yes.
back to the sign question, how long is temporary?
You're allowed to have one temporary sign on a property. and
Or
all year long.
indefinitely?
All year
So I
long.
can put a sign right out next to the road by my mailbox and you won't touch it?
The sign has to meet certain regulations, has to be 5 feet off right away, or,
Well, his
Okay.
isn't 5 feet off the right of way, it's right there on the curb.
okay, I'll take a look at it.
All right,
The sign is a temporary real estate sign advertising the units. The sign was actually moved closer to the road by the excavator when they were digging the water and sewer, when they had to close the road. So it was further off. They actually moved it, Craig, closer to the road, but it's a 4x4, which is a standard commercial real estate sign advertising the units for sale or for lease. The lighting, the south side of the property faces the neighbor's home to the south. There is no lights on the south side of the building. In the back, or the south side of the building, in each unit are 2 windows per unit, and those are, I think they're 2 foot by 4 foot windows. So I can't imagine that would emit much light. The lights to the parking lot are what is recommended, by the building specifications. We have to have exterior lighting, and what is on the building is what was recommended. So that's, I would have been happy to have purchased half the amount of lights, but that is what's called for in a commercial property, and that's what we installed.
And
But
this-
there's no lights on the south side of the building.
This time of year, there's no leaves on the tree.
Right.
And that makes it.
Yep, correct. Thank you.
God, I 100% agree with you. There is no lights on the backside of the building, but the lights on the inside are on almost every night.
But please, address us, please.
But,
This is not a discussion.
okay, so I totally agree with Todd. There's no lights on the south side of the building, but the whole interior of the building is lit up almost every single night. They don't shut the lights off at night. So the whole backside of my yard, of my house, is lit up. I mean, I get where he's coming from. There are no lights back there, but all of the lights are on.
Comes to the window.
Yes.
Okay.
And it shines through my whole backyard. And yes, the lights go above the building, so yes, it does light up my yard.
I'm suggesting just window shades on there, number one, okay? Okay, now.
So I should go by window shades
No,
because he built a
wait
building.
a minute. I'll give Mr. Camps is gonna answer the question. Please. If you'll sit down. Temporarily. You can come back.
Thank you. The lighting on the interior of the building, by code, has to have automatic, so they're censored. So the lights, once the construction's done, I think are on 15 minutes. So if there's no movement in the unit, they'll go off in 15 minutes, once they're completed. The lights you're seeing right now, there's a couple lights that the contractors have hung inside prior to getting the individual electrical panels in place. So those, and again, that's one fluorescent light hung from the center of the unit. 5 of the units are already completed, and certificate of occupancies have been issued on. And those lights are all on timers, which the electrical inspector checks, and those pass. So those, again, there's no one in those units in the evening, so those lights should not be on. I will watch it. They are, then we have a bad sensor, but those won't be on a regular basis.
Just have one suggestion, and that is if you still have some units under construction, that nobody leaves the lights on overnight when they leave.
Yeah, there's 3 under construction right now, Roger, so I can check on that. I was there last night, and there was a light on in the west unit that they had left on, and there was a light on in the east unit. So those were the only 2 that were on when I was there at 8 o'clock last night.
That would help a lot.
But
That would help
I'll,
a lot. Those are lights that turned out.
Yeah.
I agree, okay,
not an issue.
okay, very good,
Yep, I'll let them know.
thank you.
No, I'll let them know.
Anything else? We can take care of a lot of things tonight, I think. It answers. Anybody else? If not, I'll declare public hearing closed at 7:32. And now we have from Mr. Jurosik, for those who saw it online or downloaded it, we have a summary of things that he's looked at for compliance on this. And this goes back to the ordinance. And I might state at the outset, the intent of the ordinance was to have, allow mixed use in certain situations of buildings. So we have, for example, one of the things that I always thought about was our downtown core downtown. Why couldn't you have retail on the bottom, residential on top of the building as an idea that would be qualified as mixed use? And then that idea kind of expanded a little bit. And Mr. Camps brought the idea to us. We did some research on it, and they're already in the city of Ferrisburg, the Cove condominiums next to Bikini Marina have been there for about 30 years, and they are. And it's the same thing. You have a boathouse, you keep your boat there. There's also residential. And they've been there for a long time, next to Johnston Boiler. And so, I even took a picture of that and showed council when we talked about this. But anyway, so we already have the occurrence. And I think the other thing is neighbors have to be good neighbors. We'll make sure we watch out for that. I'm a firm believer in that. So that what we're looking at, and now I'll give Josik's opinion, then I'll say something, and then each of us will get a chance. he talks about the special land use review, which in my opinion is the core of what we're talking about. And that is, that it was compatible with the city of Ferrisburg master plan. Yes, and that is, it's zone general commercial. Is a design, constructed, operated to be maintained so as to be compatible with the existing or intended character of a general vicinity, so as not to change the essential character of the area which is proposed, and the interior dwelling units will have no impact on the character. Number 3, be adequately served by public utilities and services. Yes, it is. It meets the standard. The dwelling units have big services, but they must be approved by all city departments. And that gets back to the building code aspect and meeting electrical, meeting all those activities. Number 4, not involve uses, activities, processes, materials, equipment, or conditions of operation be detrimental to the natural environment, public health, safety, welfare, through excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, odors, or other nuisance. And this applies to the whole project, but in the case of the accessory build, the part that's got the dwelling in it, it has no effect on that. Trying to get away from the word impact. It's become one of my pet. Number 5, excuse me, promote the public interest through provision of a service, facility, are determined to be beneficial to the residents of the city. And he says he meets the standard. This area has been identified for a variety of commercial and residential land uses, and we have seen that. This body's seen that. Proposal is generally consistent with the vision for the area. So he's remarked, he talks about parking, and this is where I might disagree with that. I'll give you my opinion and then everybody else can chime in. We originally set this up as 2 places, one in front and another place, so that already have the way I do it, one for the dwelling and one for whatever else. And the idea of having a third, I think that's what he's talking about, third parking place, don't make sense. And we don't want to pave too much of it to have more parking than needed, that's for sure. So I would say we might consider diverting from that requirement anyway. So let me take it up from there. Let me start. Who wants to start first?
I would agree with that, with the parking, because it's even stated in here that it's going to be one owner for the storage aspect and any dwelling aspect. So I don't see the need personally for additional parking.
We don't expect visitors to be coming and going. How I should. Who else was
If you create more parking, that might encourage that, and we don't want to encourage that.
Well, my opinion would be that both the fire chief and public works officials have signed off on the project. That was one of the prohibitions within the special comments. Our advisor, all special land use standards were met. And I think, we've been presented with many different alternative housing ideas in the past few months, everything from tiny houses, which personally I don't think I see as an alternative, but this is certainly one of them. And I think that this is a good use of the property. We've already approved the concept of accessory dwelling units based on this property. So this is just now, we're looking at the type of arrangement. So for me, I would support it.
I also support this. I don't think they need extra parking. I think everything looks like it's been met. And this is what I think was the what they were planning to do at the beginning, so, yes.
Comments about the other things that he brings up in here? Is that okay with you?
Yes, I would agree. There's very adequate parking. I made the comment to Craig, if I visit the other locations, I don't think I've ever been there, when I say ever, in the last 7 years, where more than a third of the parking has been occupied. So if it's an issue, I'm happy to address it with you guys later, but I don't. I mean, we've had great success with it. All the units are sold. So I know who those users are. Again, I can literally go kind of unit by unit, and the one couple has their motorhome in, they're leaving shortly, they're gone until May. I've got another gentleman that's got cars and boats and, kind of his personal stuff. He's gone to Florida most of the winter. So I don't see any issues there. But again, I think Dave said one of the options was we could look at it later if we needed to. I'm happy to address it, but I don't think we'll have to have that conversation.
Well, I've got you here, your other channel side. How many channel sides are there now?
So this is number 3.
This is number 3.
So the original has 20, I should know this off the top of my head, 25 units. Channel side 2 is 9 units. The first phase here of this was a 9-unit building. One of those was bought as a double. So we technically have 8 owners. And then I'm hoping to be back soon to talk about, the other phases as we originally talked about up front, so.
Are you aware on the other channel side uses, if anybody is using those for dwelling units too?
None that I'm aware of. At channel side 2, we have my original unit, which was 9, the west unit there. I had built, a mezzanine with an office and kind of had a hangout area down below. There's unit 1 would be the east unit. He built a mezzanine for an office. He's since retired. He's mainly down in Florida, probably 6-7 months of the year. Unit 2 doesn't have any build out. Unit 3, I don't think has build out. Unit 4 is husband and wife. They sold their business. They live in Spring Lake. They had a business in Muskegon. They built out a mezzanine with office up above. They're there, during the day, 2-3 days a week for probably 4 or 5 hours. And then they have their boat and motorcycles and cars down in the main level. The unit next to that has a game room. He's a hunter. He's got his game room in there and boat down below. And then the gentleman I sold my unit to, he does use it for an office. He's a local McDonald's franchise owner, so he offices there and then has a couple cars in there, motorhome. So again, 4 or 5 mezzanines, but none that are set up. The original 25, there's probably 6 or 7 with mezzanines in there. And of those, probably 2 of them have the ability to be livable, but those would have to be approved if they wanted to do that. When I say ability, they have a sink and a bathroom and a stove and, refrigerator.
That sounds kind of like what we're talking about. It's got everything but a bed then.
Right. So that, again, so that's why I said if somebody wanted to do that, they would have to, if they're gonna use it, I think they would have to come and actually, apply for special use.
Because that was my question. You don't know of anybody that's abusing the privileges that you've given. Okay. Just what's your next announcement? Before I've got you here, before we
Okay.
take a vote. When you'll be coming before us again because you bought another piece of property?
No, so on this property, our original plan had the ability for 3 buildings. So with the early success of this unit, I'm in the early planning stages. So hopefully by maybe at the earliest February, but March, hopefully I'll have my site plans pulled together for the next phase.
You have no announcement to make about another property purchase then?
Not quite yet.
No surprises? I heard that there's a McDonald's going on that corner,
I have not heard that,
Starbucks?
and not heard that either.
I'll trip you up.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna keep going with the.
And then if you want to go north, you're going to ask me about the Costco. I got to answer that the same way. Can't say anything.
Ask Craig about Pizza Hut yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that one. I'd like to know too, the old Pizza Hut, if that's what you're referring to. I haven't heard the use. I do know it's been leased, but I haven't heard the use.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you
Anybody else have
also.
Any questions?
So thank you.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
Are we still in our public hearing?
Now, discussion. I'm supposed to read this, all right. Discussion and take action if appropriate to recommend the city council, has to go to city council yet, to approve or not to approve a special land use to have accessory dwelling units in unit 1, 4, and 8 on parcel numbers 70, I won't read them again, commonly known as 17360 James E. Court, Unit 1, 17360 James E. Court, Unit 4, and 17360 James E. Court 5. I'm entertaining a motion.
All right, I would make a motion to recommend to city council to approve a special land use to have accelerated dwelling units in unit 1, unit 4, and unit 8 on parcels number 70-0309-338-001, 70-0309-338-004, and 70-0309-338-008, commonly known as 17360 James E. Court, Unit 1, 17360 James E. Court, Unit 4, and 17360 James E. Court, Unit 8.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded that we recommend the city council the approval of this special land use. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tuggle?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Commissioner Hawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Schoberg?
Yes.
Commissioner DeYoung?
Yes.
Chairman Jonas?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. You've heard the people in the audience and with questions and concerns. And I want you to be responsible owner as you are and make sure that take those into consideration and keep this process going. Okay, and with Mr. Grosick not here, we were going to discuss something about master plan. The Lions kickoff is 9 to 8:13. He was going to get us, he's got a substantial portion of the master plan. That we dropped a little bit to Greg and myself morning and thought he might have some more later, but it's not quite ready for public consumption. home before we get here. So we want to schedule another meeting to tackle that portion of it. And went through a lot of different information and finally decide the next meeting would be, this is based upon everybody's input, December 11th, and I know Virginia's gonna be gone.
Are you gonna do?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, my grandson's comfort is more.
Everybody understand and seemed to work. That one was the only night. Often
I
end up-
understand.
But here's what I'm gonna ask you to do, is when Eva drops this line to us, please read over what you can, give your feedback,
Okay.
because I'm not sure what's been done on the 11th. Then we'll see how,
I'll send, and you want me to send my comments to you then?
no, David.
Oh, to
Craig.
Craig.
Somebody have a conflict? Maybe Craig or,
Or city council meeting.
oh, I was gonna say, because I think that was the date that everybody,
Was the
But-
11th or the 16th, yeah?
yeah, but somebody had a okay.
We're talking the
Sorry,
11th
Regina.
at 7 o'clock.
Correct.
All right?
Mr. Carlson had,
Yes.
Oh,
and whatever the mayor wants.
Oh, that's not the case.
But anyway, hopefully tomorrow, David will give us what he's got. He had some of the demographics to plug in, which I'm not sure that's not the important part of what we're trying to capture is the whole notion of the master plan itself. Looking at visioning has nothing to do necessarily with the other stuff he's got going, so what he's got, so, Mr. Post, I'm hanging on to this just as long as I can. Okay, I'm not giving up either. So, anything else to add today, Craig?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. Public comments again. Any public comments at 7:53? Okay. Mr. Camps.
My public comment will ditto the first gentleman and say thank you. Incredible run, incredible amount of time and energy given to the city. So thank you very much. It's yeah. We've crossed paths for many years, and it's always been a pleasure and super appreciated. So thank you. Thank you to everybody. Right, it's kind of a thankless job, not fun always. So, but there is good. As I said before we started, there's good stuff as we have positive things happening in the community. So, I'm trying to do some stuff down in Florida, and it's a nightmare. And I always refer or make comments that I wish it could be like, the stuff I'm doing in my hometown. So thank you to all, but yeah, great job. So those are my comments. Thank you.
I've spending time in Florida too. It's a mess.
I'm 30 months in to get a similar development approved, and I have not got to planning commission. I'm hoping the end of January. 30 months.
It's countywide. The planning commission's countywide.
And it's
Some cities have their on top of it.
it's
Yes.
very frustrating. So thank you.
It depends on if you're at the top of their list or not.
I'm evidently not.
You don't have.
We're not having
No,
a
I
big
know it.
enough,
I
we're not having a big enough impact, but I
I
guess.
read the papers down there, and especially when I see something has to regard with planning and zoning, I zero in on that like crazy. I
Yeah.
want to know what they're doing in other places. And of course, the growth down there is crazy.
Right,
So they've got tugs and pulls, they've got $multi-million projects.
right.
So what you've got proposed, it can wait.
Right, yeah, yeah, but it's, again, it's on vacant land that's never been developed, it's next to another storage, unit, all of my meetings with them, they're like, oh, this is perfect, and, yep, keep plugging along, and,
Hurricane knocked it down, then you get attention.
yeah, I haven't had a chance to build it yet, so, not that I want the hurricane to knock it down, but, so, thank you, appreciate it, everybody, thank you.
Okay, zoning administrator's report.
Just want to talk about the January 2nd meeting. Is there going to be everybody able to make that meeting?
I will be out of the country.
Okay.
Any bowl games that night?
All right, we'll schedule one. Thank you. That's all I have.
I'll zoom in. Still be in Michigan. Can't zoom anymore, you just have to. One way. Okay, chairman's report. I really have nothing. Thanks, everybody, for your input, putting up with me on some of the long-winded stuff I go into, but as you can tell, I have a passion for all this, and I love this group. I think any commission I have ever been on in 25 that I've got another meeting to go. Mr. Post, sit out there. You get to come January 2nd when he wants to come. Okay, members' reports.
No report.
No report.
The picture is prominent again in the.
Oh, no. Oh, no, it's
It
not.
is.
Oh, no. No.
I saw that too.
I'm officially requesting it to be changed
No,
to.
no, it's too late. It's gone to press.
Expunge.
I
Sign
think
one
it
of
can
those
be changed.
waivers where they can't use your picture.
That's not my most flattering look, and I think it's time for it to.
This is a good picture.
Well, I took one specifically of you for that spot.
That didn't make it.
I think you're not the only one with a vote here on this board. Can't we all vote on it?
No, it's past that. It's too late.
I think it would be very appropriate.
No, I think what would be appropriate is next summer, I'll come back and I'll bring you coffee and
I'm sad that I won't be here the 11th, but, I don't want to be the other grandmother. My grandchildren two of them live 3 hours away, and ever since Brooke has been born, I've gone every single month at least once, and for any special events. So when something comes up, I just have to be there. But I was going to suggest that we take you out for a drink or something, but we'll have to do that, I guess. Or you guys are all welcome to do it without me, but I just want to tell you what an inspiration you are to me, and an example of how to run meetings and how to treat people, and a great influence on the entire city.
don't drink, but I did this once before.
I know, but
Hunter, thanks.
Taking just a note. I'm pretty admirable, because I don't exactly what. I appreciate how you speak. Very admirable comment. Just appreciate it.
I was just gonna reiterate that city council has had a number of complaints the last few months about short-term rentals. And we did talk about it. I don't think we talked about it last Monday, did we, Craig? It was two weeks ago.
Yep.
And talked about shoving it at planning committee
Yes.
for short-term rentals. That's coming up. Well, we have more time to delve into it, and it should be here.
And this is an issue all over the country. All over, because I read the papers, and no matter where you go, it's an issue. Not just where you have beaches and everything else. As you have different dynamics going on with absentee owners, big corporations buying them, hedge funds buying them, just property all over the place. The dynamic has changed a whole lot, so trying to look at it. Exactly.
No report.
Okay.
Roger, I'm sorry. Can I go make a proposal for the photo idea?
Oh, dear me.
Do it.
Well, okay.
I hope Dave is listening right now.
Since we're all here, instead of a photo of me or a photo of you, could I propose that we take a photo of all of us
Yes, I like that idea.
together here?
Could we please?
Would that be okay?
I'd like that. I'll put it on my Christmas card. No,
Would that be okay?
I think that's a great idea.
Does everybody agree to that?
Yes, move the microphones out of the way so.
Right here?
They're not out of the picture.
Yeah, Gary can come in too.
Gary should be in here too.
Yep.
What are we
Are we standing or just sitting? Should we just?
Sitting or
Oh,
well, two people assume standing for it, 5 assume
I don't know, we're all sitting in our spots. This is fine.
We could all say.
You want us around here, Craig, would that be best?
Closer together.
What if I, three of us sit and some stand?
Oh, yeah, there we go, okay. All right, tall people in the back, okay.
Okay, I'll stand too.
All right,
Do 3 and
I'll
4.
sit.
How about that?
There.
I didn't realize there's all 6, 3. Oh, here we are, okay.
There we go.
There.
Okay.
Please, I'll look at Craig. I'll look at Craig first. All right, now I'll look at Gary.
We should have one with Gary in here, though.
Yes, Gary should.
And I should be out. Out with the old, in with the new.
No, you just.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy-
Hold up, Gary, hold up, we got one more.
Alrighty.
I was gonna say one more thing is, and that is, you've never seen me use the gavel. And I got that from my wife, was on the bench for 28 years, never used her gavel. And it's all courtroom decorum. And I tried to create the same thing here, a decorum, so that you didn't have to go, call the meeting to order, call the meeting to order. It gets into a rapping contest. So therefore, that's one thing I hope you keep in mind, that there's a way to keep everything going the way it should be in your space, if you can do it right. Now, sometimes it gets out of hand and you don't have a choice. And there a couple of times it got to the point where I almost said, recess 10 minutes, get out of here, because it was getting too out of hand, but it always came back down to it. Never had to do that, fortunately, and our little burg that I call ourselves. So, and most people, they just want to have their say. You know, they want to be heard. They want somebody to listen to them. And so you let them talk to a point, and then you kind of have to politely change the subject or whatever. So just keep that in mind, and we're all neighbors when it comes down to it. We're all neighbors. Small area.
Gavel thing is, you can command a room without that kind of, just like when a public speaker gets up and bangs a glass. My dad was a great public speaker. No. Always remember, he said, have somebody that's putting that gavel all the time.
But if
They
you're
don't
in
really have.
if you're in a wedding, that's the only way you're going to get the groom to kiss the bride. That's
The only way.
I mean, they just don't do it. Once they've been married, that's, you know. Anyway, okay. still got another meeting on the 10th. 11th. You got one then too? Oh, you didn't know about the 10th? I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry, did I cut off your comment? Did you have something you were saying at the end? Did I cut off your comment?
No, I don't think so. No, I think I'm ready. Kickoff time in 8 minutes. Oh, your meeting is adjourned. Thank you. You too.